Welcome back to another edition of Components Breakdown. Today we're going to look at the just released game, Back to the Future, the card game. It is a 2 to 6 player game. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes to play, and it can actually drag on for a lot longer than that, an hour plus, if the game is played with 4 or more players, which has happened. It is a card-driven game, and it's in the same vein as Chrononauts, and we'll get into some of the basic gameplay, but the first thing I wanted to show everyone was the actual cards and components that come with the game itself. So with that, let's open up the box and see what comes inside. So the first thing you're going to notice is the size of the box itself. In typical Looney Labs fashion, it is very small box, very similar to Chrononauts and the Flux line of games. Inside there is an insert that divides the cards in half. There's 100 cards that ship with the game, and they consist of 3 different types of cards really. There's the ID cards, which represent each of the players, and looking at these, they're all made up names. They're fictitious. I mean, really the movies are fictitious themselves, but they're not in the movies at all. And they give you an idea of what you need to do to reset the timeline in order for that specific character. Also, there are the timeline cards that you'll set up, and then there is a large stack of the deck itself. And within the deck, there's several different kinds of card types, such as items, time machines, double backs, action cards, and power action cards. And the other thing, which I haven't showed you, is the instruction manual. And it is a large fold-out, looks like 11 by 18 instruction manual, and it is double-sided as well. It's a fairly easy game to understand. For those who played Chrononauts, it's got a lot of similar qualities. And so with that, let's break open the game in a little more detail, show you a little bit more about the cards, and give you some of the basic gameplay elements. So now we have everything laid out on the table. We're going to walk through the game briefly and show you the basic gameplay mechanics and the timeline system and how everything fits together. The first thing is the actual timeline itself, and that is on the top of the area here, and it consists of 4 different rows and 6 columns. In each of those there is an alphabetical letter and a number that corresponds with that specific area. For instance, we're zooming in on C3 here, which is Lorraine and George McFly's 15th wedding anniversary. Now, they're all laid out in the same way when the game starts. Within these are 2 different types of cards. There's Linchpin Cards, and then there's Ripple Points. And the whole game starts off originally on the blue side face up. Now, when specific events come into play, they may turn a specific linchpin. And when a linchpin goes off, it will create several different ripple points to take effect. It could make 1 ripple point, or it could set off numerous ripple points. And that just shows that the flow of time has been altered. Now, the overall objective of the game, as I said earlier, is that each of the characters that you start off with, which are represented by these Cisco ID card or Cusco ID cards, have specific gameplay mechanics that you're trying to fulfill. For instance, we're looking at Clay Strickland here, and he's trying to fulfill 3 different items on here. Now, all of these timeline cards have specific color coordinated things. Like, for instance, here is a black sports almanac, but on the other side is a red. So looking back at here, at the last item here, B2, which is that sports almanac, it has to be on the red side for this player to fulfill that specific timeline event. Once they have all of those timeline events, they have to actually use the Emmett Brown Invents the Flux capacitor space. This is the only space that has numerous cards, and as you can see there's 5 cards in that stack. On the backs of those cards, 4 of them say nothing happens, but on the 5th one, he actually hangs a clock instead, and that would end the game. So the objective is for you to go through time, get the exact timeline that you need on your card, and then have Doc Brown not invent time travel so that you're stuck in the future that you thought you were supposed to be in. Now, that's done through numerous different cards, and those are usually the action cards that we'll see down here. There's several different action cards. There are time machine cards. As I said earlier, there's items, actions, power actions, and double backs, and they all do specific things in the game. All of the artwork on the game is actually hand-drawn artwork, which I'm okay with. I don't really like it. I wish they had used licensed pictures from the game. I thought it would have brought more into the game, but Since there are some made-up fictional areas within the Back to the universe, so to speak, they had to take some liberties in creating things that aren't actually in the movies. As you see on the time machines themselves, there's several different versions of all the cars, and they have the locomotives and the other items in here for time travel. All of them allow you to flip specific linchpins, so they're very powerful cards. The items are usually placed in front of you, and they allow specific linchpins to activate or prevent other players from doing specific things. There's action cards, which allow you to do trading cards, mixing up cards, drawing cards, discarding things. Power actions are just as powerful because some of them can be taken out of turn, and the double backs usually flip one specific linchpin and allow you to do something else if you have that particular item in front of you. So, as I said, the game takes probably about 25-30 minutes to play. It can last a lot longer with 4 players if people keep repeatedly flipping linchpins that other people may need. Do I like the game? No, I really don't, and it's not because it's a bad game, so to say. It just, the theme doesn't really carry through to me. Now, I love Back to the Future. I've always been a fan of the movies. But usually, you're more concentrating on flipping numbers than you are in what the actual storyline has to offer. For instance, it doesn't really matter to me that Claire Clayton falls into a ravine or not, or if they have a wedding or a funeral, because you don't really get that feeling in the movie or in the game when you're just flipping linchpins to get to one specific goal. So I understand the point of the game, I understand the tie-in with the license, but it's not really a fun game for me. It's not something that I really want to play a lot, and it's well done. The cards are typical Flux cards. They're very flimsy. You would need to sleeve them if you so wish. The artwork on the back is alright. I don't like the fact that they put all this graphical stuff down here with the properties and whatnot, but that's their choice. And so I wanted to give everyone a good idea of what ships in the game, because I've seen some videos, but I never really got any close-ups of the cards themselves. And I hope this gives everybody an idea of what the card art looks like, and maybe it's something you want to buy or skip and go directly to something a little more in-depth like Chrononauts. So that is Back to the Future, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching.